Among friends, a fair deal is a fair deal. Do a quick job, get the crest all fixed up. You're itching for some trouble when that job is assaulting an imp fort. Well, partner, when you poke the hive, you're bound to stir up the nasps. Sure hope Mando packed the bug spray.
Spoilers ahead. Welcome, Galactic Citizens, to another episode of Hoth Topics, a podcast about Star Wars. We are continuing our adventure talking about the Mandalorian episodes. With me, as always, is my co-host, John.
Hello.
And here with the straight facts, roommate Mike, back at it again.
Hey!
So you got the whole name right. I appreciate that. I'm
Yeah.
go back and edit it.
Roommate, Straight Facts Mike.
Welcome back, gentlemen. So, today we're going to talk about The Siege. This is the episode where the Mando goes... He has a goal now. He knows where he thinks there is a Jedi, but his ship is still pretty broken down. And he goes back to Nevarro to visit some old friends. And I am seeing Carl Weathers' face, and we've just been calling him Carl Weathers all evening. Yeah. So I'm struggling to remember the character's name.
Oh, Straight Facts Mike's got it. His name is Grief Karga.
Grief Karga.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Ian. Fake fan right here.
Because Karga sounds like Carl and then Carl Weathers. Come on.
Carl?
That kills people. Anyway.
He does.
He does. Yes. Do that a lot in this episode.
Weirdly correct.
Goes back to Nevarro, meets with Grief Karga and Cara Dune. They're going to fix his ship up, but they have a task for him, and that task is infiltrating an Imperial base where there are a skeleton crew of remnant Imperials kind of just chilling, not really hurting anybody. I don't know what the big... But they decide that needs to get taken care of and blown up. And they go and they do that. So, getting into the nitty-gritty of the specifics here, John, what are some things that stood out to you this episode?
I would just like to start off with asking you a question, kind of related to the beginning of this episode and kind of the end of the last episode. But would you say that the Mon Cal repairs on the Razor Crest were fishy?
How long have you been waiting to say that? Like, has it been minutes? Has it been hours? Has it been since the last podcast?
Since you said there was something sketchy about the repairs or something to that effect, my brain tuned out and wanted to make a fishy pun.
Gotcha. Are you happy?
Yes, I am happy.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. This has been... I'm sorry, and what was the question? I had that all wound up and ready to pounce.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, I gotta respect the hustle.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
Game respects game.
I choose. What? Mm-hmm.
Same. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Well, in that case,
the question was, what stood out to you this episode?
Oh, what stood out? Well, first off, you get the return of TV's Horatio Sands.
We do as the
blue guy,
Blue Man non-group.
Yeah, the Mythol. No, that's Mithril.
Yeah, it's like the type of chainmail our characters usually end up wearing in D&D, but with an O.
Mithril.
Yeah, got it.
But not mithril.
Got it.
Which is what he is. We wear mithril, and he's a mithril.
Got it?
Did you get it?
Oh,
everything good?
That's a great thing about having my weird anxiety pre-migraine attacks is that, like, my brain don't work good, and then I try to make other people's brains bad too.
Yeah, well, you're succeeding a little bit because I can't. All I see is letters beginning with M, or words.
Numbers that begin with M.
Yeah.
So something I noted, I think we mentioned before. Usually, before we record these episodes, we rewatch the episode, even if it's been months since it's actually aired.
Right.
And something that I noticed with the mithril, with TV's Horatio Sands, is that we're going to find out it's not Horatio Sands, and my brain's going to feel so dumb.
It's going to be Will Sasso.
I know. It's going to be Will Sasso. So we see TV's Horatio Sands when Grief brings Mando into the sheriff's office, I guess,
Marshal's
City
office?
Hall, wherever Grief hangs out with Kara, and he's talking into a data pad, and he says something like it's unregistered or something like that. Like I don't remember the exact words because it's gone, and then I had a panic attack. But it sounded like he was reporting that the Razor Crest had shown up on Nevarro, because he's mentioned something like the last time I saw it, and then Mando walks in and then he gasses himself. Remember, he had those gases shoot out.
He had
from
a
his
little
gills.
mist.
Yeah, he misted himself. He got a little misty-eyed, throated,
misty necked.
So I don't know if that's actually what was going on, but we know from later in the episode that something fishy's been done. That was not related to the Mando. The Moncal.
As soon as he said it, like my shoulders just dropped, and I
was trying to remember if Mimbins are aquatic at all, and I don't think they are. They're just scary and live in the dark. So we know something's been done to the Razor Crest. So I didn't know if maybe that was a connection, or if that was just a way to get a fun little laugh out of TV's Horatio Sands.
Yeah, the way that I interpreted that scene was like Grief was coming into the office, like he was on his way in, and TV's Horatio Sands saw him and was beginning to report to him before Mando walked in. That's how I interpreted the scene.
Gotcha.
However, it is a cool idea. I kind of like the idea of him, like, playing all sides, because that's kind of what his character is.
Yeah.
So that's a neat little headcanon.
At the very beginning, that was the first thing that kind of like popped out again after like the sixth rewatch of that episode.
Sure. It's a dungeon crawl.
Yeah, it's more of a serialized episode where it's just kind of like, oh hey, before you continue your mission, let's do a little side quest. Get your little XP boost, maybe some magic items.
But it does serve a very important purpose in that this episode is where they discover that Moff Gideon is indeed still alive, fueling the sort of the rest of the season. They know he's a threat now, and the goal of getting the child to a Jedi, which was the quest, it has even more urgency. So, and that's the thing I like about this series, and I think some people need to kind of like keep in the back of their mind, is that even though there are episodes that are filler-esque or one-off-esque, they still contain information that progresses the main plot.
Right. I do agree with you.
Yeah. But it's still fun to have that sort of stuff there. Mike, what about you? What stood out to you in this episode?
I think the most prevalent thing in my mind that I saw out of this episode was how little we saw out of our two main characters. Mandalorian was there for about 2/3 of the way, and even then I feel like Carl Weathers and Horatio Sands did the brunt of the work while he was there, and then he left. And then all we got out of the child was that he likes to eat blue cookies. And that was it. And I mean, I don't blame him. Those look delicious. But we didn't get a lot of development, and instead we got a lot of development in our side characters. I'm not complaining. That's just very different from what we've seen so far in this season and in the series in general. I still had a lot of fun. I think the action scenes in this one are really well shot. I liked Cara Dune's character in the first season. I'm glad to see her back in this episode, and then more episodes to come. I wasn't expecting that. Obviously, I wasn't expecting Horatio Sands to be back either after what we saw out of him in the first season. But he was a lot of fun. He's a funny character, and he's a good actor, so it was a good time. Wasn't a lot of substance, but there doesn't need to be. It was just a fun little adventure that we got to go on with this ragtag team that we saw, them work together in the first season. Now we get to see them work together in the second. And the cool thing about that is because they've worked so much together previously, the Mandalorian showed up and then just went right to work. Like, hey, we got a job for you. Okay, let's go. That was basically the entire first portion of it. It's like, you gotta fix my ship. Oh, let's go do a job real quick. Like, boom, boom, boom. While we're gonna do that. So, there was a lot less frills and a lot less setup in order to kind of focus on a lot of the cool action scenes, a lot of the cool like development scenes in terms of like the overall story. Like we got to see the hologram of the lab guy, whatever, or the doctor guy, whatever he is,
Dr. Pershing.
Yeah.
And like, why do I remember that but not Grief Karga?
Or why can't you remember Horatio Sands' character's name?
Because it's not a mystical metal.
It's also because he doesn't have one.
Yeah, it's referred to by his species name.
Yeah, he's
which
just
is
the
kind of
mithril.
Weird.
Right.
Anyway,
Well, I mean, Mandalorian is referred to as the Mandalorian.
yeah, but that's
But
like a
we
culture
we
thing.
do know his name, though.
Yeah, and that's also like a culture thing, as opposed to. Well, I guess maybe the mithril. I almost called them the mythol again. Maybe the mithril is also similar. Whatever.
Maybe they're like the Q, where all the whole species has one name.
Yeah, it's fake in its space.
Anger.
Yeah, no, I concur with pretty much everything you said there. It was very, these types of episodes are a byproduct of long form storytelling, and television storytelling, especially anything that is episodic, and we haven't gotten anything like that in Star Wars for live action. This particular episode really felt like a Clone Wars episode to me, where it has those the well-established characters that we kind of already know, and they just go and they do a thing, and then the episode's over and they move on to the next thing, which makes sense because a lot of the people who are working on this project got their chops on Clone Wars and other TV and animation and stuff like that. I did have one kind of a joke. I was making it while we were rewatching the episode, where there's that scene where they're escaping the base and the speeder bike brigade just kind of shoots out, and two of them don't even make it down the cliff. We give stormtroopers a lot of flack for like seemingly being weak, but that's because we're watching from the perspective of the heroes, right? And the faceless minions aren't gonna go up against that. But these guys just kind of like fell down a cliff and broke both their
what
bikes.
It looked like to me is one of the guys tried to hotshot it and do like a sick trick off like a rock, and just ended up landing on another guy's bike.
Yeah.
So really, it's one guy that messed up and just took out two guys with his one guyness.
I just like this thought that like when the Empire collapsed, they had to like shift around a bunch of people to like different areas. It's like, hey, Frank, I know that you work in IT, but your new orders are to go with the speeder bike group. It's like, but I don't know how to. You're gonna be fine.
Your resume says that you did some landscaping on some ride-on lawnmowers. It's just like a speeder bike.
Yeah.
Exactly the same speed, normal.
Well, I mean, if Luke Skywalker can hop into an X-wing when his only
yeah, but he's magic.
yeah, that's fair.
He's got magic powers. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember when Anakin did that?
Yeah.
All he did was spin.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a really good trick.
It is. I was gonna make a joke, and I forgot what it was. Something about leftward sloping turns.
Oh no, it's slightly turned to the left.
Yeah, evasive maneuvers.
Yeah.
Just slightly turn to the left.
Slightly.
Oh, you had mentioned something during the episode where it's like take evasive maneuvers, and how that doesn't mean anything in Star Wars because it always happens within a canyon.
Within like a trench, yeah.
Yeah, or a trench where no evasive maneuvers can happen.
The evasive maneuvers go slightly faster.
Right.
There was one thing that kind of was weird to me in this episode is they're hightailing it back to the village, right? As if they'd be safe there.
Right.
Yeah, as long as they get there, then base. They
Yeah.
call base.
Right.
And I've learned this in tag.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure they know it as well. So as long as they get back, they're good.
It's a universal rule, Ian.
Right.
I see.
You see
So
what
so the TIE fighters would have just been like, oh, they called base.
They called base, yeah.
And
Right,
we're
right.
off.
Yeah.
There's civilians in there.
Cool.
Empire's not going to fire on civilians. Name one example.
I don't.
Do you have enough time?
Yeah, we don't have enough time left in the podcast.
When they brought that mission up to Mando, they thought it was like a skeleton crewed base and not like a fully operational research center. So I didn't think they even expected TIEs to be. They brought Mithril Speeder, like
Right.
they didn't have any intention of being chased out of there in a gunfight. So
Yeah.
I
And a
think
cutter
they were
ready
just
for
kind of
plumbing.
going wherever they could go.
Right.
That might have cover or a secret covert of Mandalorians. They've definitely left the planet.
Yeah. The very first scene we see is a bunch of. I don't remember what that species name is, but they got the big sort of like spider mouths.
The Pondababas.
Yeah, the Pondababas.
It's Aqua
Walrus Man.
Aqualish.
Aqualish, yeah, that's it.
Aqualish.
Wow.
Aqualish.
I remember this, Mike, because they look like baboons, and then their name makes them sound like they're from a water planet, and like that doesn't make sense, and so that stays in my brain.
Okay. That.
I guess they look like the backside of baboons.
I think it's because they were called walrus men
Yeah.
in the
But I think they're spider inspired though. At least that's the
spiders.
I know. Yeah.
Send all of your hot spider memes to
At
@HothPod
HothPod
Ian.
See, the thing I'm worried about is that the last time y'all made this joke, nobody did it because nobody listens.
Right.
But we're participating in a thing coming up next month, Star Wars Podcast Day,
Yeah.
where we're throwing our hat in the ring with a whole bunch of other Star Wars podcasters,
Right.
and all releasing content on the same day. And a lot of them might end up listening to this and might end up doing that.
Okay.
Might end up doing what?
No, I'm not
Like-
repeating it.
Oh, actually, what they should do is send all of their hot spider memes to @HothPod Ian.
Let's not, though.
you.
Instead.
Links in the doobly-doo.
Instead of that, don't. Please. Right.
How does Ian recover from this?
Aqualesh in the armorer's armory in the beginning.
Yeah.
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 So, which was a cool callback, and we got to see some Cara Dune martial action. Oh, and one thing, I don't remember if you showed me this, John, or if I just found it on the internet somewhere, but Cara Dune's belt buckle as why are you shaking your head at me?
Because that doesn't happen yet.
No,
She doesn't get the stripes until the end of the episode.
that wasn't what I was going to say.
Oh.
Her belt buckle that's on her during the whole time has that the symbol from the ribbon underneath that thing at the end, and it's also the same symbol that's on Cobb Vanth's belt, and he is also a marshal. So there's like an actual symbol designation for marshal, which I thought was interesting.
John is feverishly fact-checking this.
Well, no, because I remember pointing out the stripe thing to you. I don't remember that being in that episode until Captain Carson gives her the
Yeah, no,
Republic
she
Marshal
has the
badge.
same like symbol on her belt. This was pointed out to me like weeks ago from the internet somewhere, so who knows.
Reliable source, the internet.
Hello, my name is John.
Welcome,
I
John.
am a representative of the internet. Using our advanced Google search for
Yes.
Cara Dune the Siege belt, I can confirm that she does in fact have stripes on her belt at this time. Thank you. This has been John from the internet.
I'd like to take a moment to thank the council for sending their representative, John, of the internet to us in order to fact-check these things. However, I am going to have to request all of your fact-checks go through our resident fact-checker, Straight Facts Mike.
All right. Anything else about this episode that we need to go over?
Go ahead.
We didn't really talk all that much about what happened inside the base.
Yeah, the base.
So, as we mentioned previously, Grief Karga and Cara Dune thought that it was a skeleton crewed base and they just wanted to get the Imperials off their planet. And when they get there, it's a little bit more than just a skeleton crew, as it appears that they're active, or at least recently active, cloning or some sort of biomedical experiments going on inside the base. There's a scene where they come into a room that's clone vats or some sort of vats with bodies in them, and two Imperial scientists feverishly trying to delete all their data.
And in true Star Wars fashion, if you can't delete something in time, you just shoot it.
Yeah,
Right.
if you want something to work the way you want it to work, you shoot it.
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite part of the episode, where one of them tried to shoot at them, and the other one was like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna shoot this
Yeah.
machine instead of like
I
try
think-
to save my life by shooting at these other people."
Yeah, we see that a couple times in the season where, like, there's one Imperial that's like, I'm fighting for my life, and then the other Imperial's like, I'm gonna do my job first. After they get into that room, they find that video of Dr. Pershing saying that, hey, we need the asset, because I'm all out of
The donor.
baby blood to run these tests on.
I was going through my head as you were like pausing for a half second, going like, "All right, how is he gonna phrase this?"
I phrased it with baby
And
blood.
you phrased it with baby blood. That was a bold choice.
Let's see if it pays off. But that's where we learn that, or that's where Mando learns that that Gideon is still alive, because the
Right.
recording's only, I think he said 3 days old.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also the vats of.
Yeah, whatever that experiment was, if they're clones. I think that they were subjects that they infused with baby blood to see if they would gain force powers. And the video, or holo, whatever they call them in Star Wars, says that it was successful for a fortnight, so 2 weeks, week and a half, whatever a fortnight is. Some
I
length
think you're
of-
right. It's 2 weeks.
It could be however long a Fortnite game lasts. I think that's like 30 minutes. I don't know. I've never played it.
John, we're too old to talk about Fortnite.
But it's in Star Wars, Ian. That's how we found out the Emperor came back.
Don't. That's a topic for another
Oh,
time.
God. Remember how mad Ian was when that happened?
Oh,
Well, it's because he just canceled his Fortnite subscription.
I never had a Fortnite subscription.
Is that even a thing?
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't play-
Once again, we're too old to be talking.
Yeah, we don't
about
know anything
Fortnite.
about
Mike-
Fortnite.
Straight Flex Mike, you play a 15-year-old MMO, and I
Yeah.
play a 20-year-old RTS, and that's basically all I
That's
do.
basically all we do.
Yeah. Ian's here too, playing more recent games.
Right.
Yeah, but normally they're just single-player story experiences.
Oh, adorable.
Okay.
So blah blah blah. Find out the homie's alive. 3
Yep.
years or 3 days ish old. And I believe it's at that point where they're like, "Hey Mando, you should get the heck out of here, like real quick." And they find a sweet Imperial transport to everyone that doesn't have a jetpack hijacks it and drive it off a cliff and survive because
Yeah,
Star
Mike,
Wars.
you had a comment about the.
The physics did not work in that. It was clearly like nose diving into the ground, and then the next time we see it, it lands flat. Like
Well,
that's not how it works.
Maybe I can ease your upsettedness at
Yeah.
this. In Star Wars, when something falls from a great height, they survive.
Oh,
So, like Luke and Bespin falls from a great height, a-okay, except
Yeah.
for missing a hand.
when Poe and Finn like crash landed.
Totally fine.
Yeah,
They fell because it wasn't powered at that point. It was definitely falling,
Controlled falling.
controlled falling. Thank you, Disney.
it's flying with style.
He's got it. I don't think there was no style. It was just crashing to the dirt. But it's a long running trope that when you fall from a great height in Star Wars, Darth Maul several times, you're fine. You're a-okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been fine if it like landed like that and just like fell flat afterwards, but it was just like literally 90 degrees different from when we saw it right before it would hit the ground.
It
when
has
we actually saw it.
It
hit
has
the ground.
forward sensors, so it detected the land speeder directly in front of it and auto corrected its angle of entry onto the speeder.
I also want to know. I'm done with this conversation.
It's just moving on.
I want to know if they got an upgrade in their vehicles when they went from their speeder at the beginning that they parked in front of it to the giant like monstrosity that they ended up with.
You know,
Was it a net positive?
I think so,
Okay.
because it can carry more people.
Yeah.
It seems to go just as fast.
Right.
And it has a big gun on it that's now broken.
It used to have a big gun on it.
It can get fixed.
It's probably better armored.
Sure. Can it go as fast?
It seems
Maybe.
to. I mean,
Is it street legal?
I mean,
it's probably not street.
one of the
legal.
things they did when they were being chased by ties was go faster.
Yeah.
Classic Star Wars. I'm going at top speed.
Now,
so I'll
just
go
go a
a
little
little faster.
bit.
We talked about this last season, but that troop transport was like an originally... Was it...
It was a Kenner toy.
It was a Kenner toy.
Yeah.
And then they brought it to life in The Mandalorian.
Yes, so some dumb thing I learned about that specific one in the Siege is it's not the same as the one that we see at the end of the first season.
Right, because it doesn't
Slightly
have
modified version.
Yeah, it doesn't have like the... I don't know. The people corrals on the side.
They probably destroyed the original prop and had to rebuild a new one.
All right, I think that's all we got for the...
Real quick, we didn't finish all the...
Woof?
We got to the escape, but we didn't say what happened to the base. It blowed up.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can move on.
Okay.
Yeah, it blew up because there was lava, and then there was like machines in the lava, and then they broke the machine that was in the lava, and then it exploded.
You know,
Yeah.
the lava involved the best joke of the entire episode with Horatio Sands calling out the lack of guardrails.
Yeah, there are no guardrails.
Calling out the OSHA violations. Blatant violations of safety.
Yeah,
Then we got a sweet space fight where Baby Yoda very cutely put his hands up as they barrel rolled and puked up the blue cookies.
yeah, the blue cookies.
Yeah.
Once
And-
again, proving that spinning is a good trick.
And once again, creating something that they can sell us at Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you could get them like right after
Yeah,
that
right
episode
after it
They were
came
like-
out.
They were like 60
Yeah,
bucks
they were like
for a pack.
$60 for macaroons with blue food dye in them.
But Star Wars cookies.
Yeah, Ian, they're Star Wars. I have like 4 or 5 in package.
Yeah, he ordered them right
Yeah,
after.
they're going to be worth hundreds.
If I'm
They're
going
gonna
to
be
spend
they're going to be worth dozens of dollars.
If I'm spending $60 on something Star Wars related, it's either Blatt Series figures or going towards another lightsaber.
Or collector's edition cookies.
Yeah, that you'll keep in package
Right.
Yeah,
because
so
their value will just increase
keep 'em in the box.
exponentially.
I'm sure whatever post-apocalyptic wanderer that comes over and finds your cookies after the explosion will be quite happy.
You'll be stoked. They'll be worth dozens of dollars,
They'll be worth dozens of bottle caps.
fives and fives of dollars.
So, all right, I think that's about it for the siege. So, all right, well, I think that just about does it for this episode of Hoth Topics, a podcast about Star Wars. But before we go, I do want to mention that coming up on February 7th, we, along with at last count 59 other podcasts, will be participating in Star Wars Podcast Day. This is just a day where we're all going to try to put out a podcast around the same time. You can check out all of the podcasts participating by going to Twitter and going to @StarWarsPodDay. And you can check out a bunch of other amazing creators who probably put stuff out on a good, timely manner, unlike ourselves, and find some great new podcasts to listen to. I highly recommend checking it out, and we'll be doing a special episode releasing that day of more Hoth Topics nonsense. And Mike, you're going to be joining us for that one, I think. Yeah?
I believe so.
All right. Awesome.
We'll have to invite them.
Yeah.
Check your email.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have our people call your people. So, thank you for joining us for this episode of Hot Topics. If you want to get to contact us, you can tweet at us at the Twitters @HothPod. Send us an email at hothpod@gmail.com, or check out our website where you can see all of our past podcasts and other content, hothtopicspodcast.com. I've been Ian.
I've run out of clever things.
That was John.
Mike's here as well.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Loud ending joke.